Welcome back to mini set number 1. I believe this is video number 5. We're going to be finishing up the general journal, page number 2, dated the transactions dated 26th through the 30th. It's a total of 5 transactions. We should have no problem getting through that in a reasonable amount of time before we go into posting. So we're going to take a look at the transactions. We're going to say we're right on here on the 26th. Let's put 26 on the general journal. And let's move over to what we received money. I like that. So we know what we do with that when we get it. We put it in the bank. And for 2 months of web services, so web service fees, right? And it was received right away. So there you go. Recognize the revenue. Cash in bank is an asset. Assets increase by virtue of a debit. Web service fees is a revenue account. It's a temporary capital account. It is increasing because we have more revenue, but because it lives in the right hemisphere of the capital account, we're going to say that that's going to be, as anything would be on a T account, a credit. So let's do the debit first. We have cash in bank. How much was it for? $1,000. Second one's going to be what? It's going to be web service fees, $1,000 credit, and it was a receipt. Receipt number 104. Okay, fair enough. Let's move it on here. We got 27th now. Let's take the 27th. What happened on the 27th? We paid dues. Well, we know that means something. That's going to be our cash in bank. And membership for his membership expenses. So membership expenses, and it was for $7,000. Wow, what is that? A country club or something? All right, and that was check number 108. So membership expenses are a temporary capital account. Lives in the left-hand hemisphere, which makes anything on a T account on the left side a debit. Increased it. Cash in bank is an asset account. We have less of it because we just paid $7,000, and that is going to be our credit. So membership expenses, and that was for $7,000. And cash in bank decreasing by $7,000. And how do we know that? Well, check number. Now I could go right now and say it's probably check number 108. Looking at the 7th, 107. So this is going to be check 108. All right, I like that. Next transaction took place on the 30th, and then you'll notice that there's 2 more transactions to take on the 30th, but we will be repeating the day on the journal. So the very first transaction takes place on the 30th. Let's say the first transaction of the 30th. It was wrote a check, so we know that's going to be our cash in bank. Asset going down because we just spent money, so that's going to be our credit. And what was it for? Monthly rent. Well, rent expense. Pretty simple on that one. So rent expense, it is considered a temporary capital account. It's increasing since it lives in the left hemisphere, and anything on the left hemisphere in the T account is going to be a debit. Let's put our debit in first. Rent expense, $750. If that's commercial real estate you're renting, then you are getting away with murder. That is cheap around here, folks. All right, so then we have cash in bank, and that is going to be $750. All right, fair enough there. And the source document for that is going to be check number 109. Check number 109er. Next transaction took place, and let's get a different color in it. Let's go blue, since orange and red seem to blend together in my eyes. Is the 30th. Put the 30 in there. What happened on the 30th? Withdrew $2,500 for personal expenses. Again, doesn't matter if you went to the track and put it on, the horses, or if he went to the gambling casino, or that he took his wife out to a very expensive dinner. It's still personal money that he's using it on, or personal uses, so it is a withdrawal. So it's going to be a $2,500 withdrawal. Let's put a note in there for that. That's a nice little chunk of money. All right, so what accounts are we talking about? Well, it's a withdrawal account. That is a temporary capital account. It's increasing. It lives on the left hemisphere, and anything on the left hemisphere of a T account is going to be your debit. Fair. I like it. Next one's going to be wrote a check, right? And that's a fancy way of saying or withdrew $2,500. Now that could have been, it could have been withdrawn as cash too. So in this case, we do know it's a check, but when I've taken money out of the business account, I've had, on rare occasions would take cash out, because you like to keep a document going. So that would be cash in bank, asset, less money in the account. There is your credit. Debits first. So we're going to go withdrawals. And of course, you could put the owner's name in there if you have to, but the withdrawals, there's only one withdrawal account, and it was for $2,500. Fair enough. Came from cash and bank. They wrote a check, and that was for $2,500, and the check number was 110. Yep, that confirms that. Last transaction, last but not least, let's make it green. It happens on the same day, so it's the 30th. Busy writing checks in the afternoon. Sitting back, writing checks. That's what this guy's doing. All right, sent check number 111 for 25 grand. Yikes. As payment on account. So we owed these people money, right? We expected to pay it later. Well, later has arrived. So we are going to be lowering some of our debt. Accounts payable, who was a 2 computer specialist. And there's a separate accounts payable account for them. And we can say accounts payable is a liability. It is decreasing, and it decreases by debit. Well, we wrote the money, so we know cash in bank. Cash in bank is an asset. It's decreasing, and it decreases by credit. So let's do the debit first. Accounts payable, computer specialist, and it was for $25,000. Mamma mia. That's a bit of money. And where did it come from? Cash and bank. 25,000. And where's the source document? Well, we wrote them a check. Check number 111. And if my numbers are correct, pray to God, I will be able to start posting these in our next video. So that concludes all of our journaling. Now we're going to take these journaled transactions in order, one line at a time, and we're going to start posting from the general journal to the general ledger to the individual general ledger accounts for everything that's affected here. So with that said, that is roughly 8 minutes and 52 seconds for this last video of journaling, and I will see you in the next video.